The president talking earlier today with South Korea's president. This is the second time the two have spoken since this big North Korean missile test. This as we learned that Korea is responding with a number of defense exercises on its own. South Korea is. So obviously upping the ante in that neck of the woods in the middle of our obsession over tax cuts. Retired Army Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin. General, where do you think this is going, and how do you think those conversations our president had with the South Korean leader, where they are going?
Well, I think it's reasonable to expect that the South Koreans are trying to do everything they can to avoid war, just like we are, because they have a lot at stake. But now I think that we've got to recognize that with the testing of this missile 2 days ago, that we now have an existential threat from North Korea. I don't think they're quite where they need to be in terms of being able to deliver this, but I think given time for more diplomacy and more discussions, we're just giving them time to refine their capabilities. South Korea is very worried, and they have every right to be, because they're so close to the artillery that sits on the demilitarized zone there.
What did you make of the fact that the North Koreans were silent for the last couple of months, and out of nowhere they launched this missile, the most sophisticated yet? What happened, you think?
Well, again, they had time where nothing was happening. There was no pressure put on them. Right. Yeah, we had sanctions, but I think there's evidence now that the Russians, for example, have been violating the sanctions that we imposed.
So you think more the Russians than the Chinese?
Well, I think the Russians, we have significant evidence of that. The Chinese have a history of violating those sanctions. That said, I think the Chinese are at a point now, given that they've had their Communist Party meeting back in October, the Chinese are in a position now to actually do something and not have the same concerns that they would have before that meeting, because Xi is back in power for another 5 years. So I think the Chinese are the key. I think they hold the keys to being able to bring this to a conclusion without short of war.
You know, what worries me, General, you're the expert, so I'll always defer to you, but man, what if the Chinese can't? What if the Chinese can't control them now? They've gone rogue.
Well, Neil, we should not downplay the risk here. We should not think that we're not on the brink of war, because we are. This is as close as we've been in the Pacific Rim, as we have been since we pulled out of Vietnam in 1975. Now, I hope and pray that there will be a peaceful solution to this, but diplomacy alone is not the answer. All that does is provides Kim more time to refine his capabilities. I don't think he's where he needs to be the threat that he is claiming that he is, but given more time, again, I say he's going to be an existential threat to America and really to most of the world.
All right, General, thank you very, very much. Scary stuff. All right, in the meantime, continue to look live on the